Hi, Ben Johnson here to record this week's High Tech Friday. This week we take a look at some tools to grade papers electronically more efficient and provide better feedback. So we'll just go ahead and jump right in. We're going to review a few things that you've seen before, but we'll start with some new techniques. One of those techniques is you may frequently give the same sort of comments on the papers that you're grading. In this case, I'll look at maybe an English language arts teacher. Maybe students frequently have problems with comma splices, and maybe that's something that you frequently put as a comment on their paper. So I want to show you how you can go ahead and add sort of standard comments that you make frequently to the papers that you grade electronically, thus saving you a lot of time. So from your Google Drive, you can just go ahead and make a new Google Doc. And if you want, you can just call this one cheat sheet, and it's just going to serve as your grading cheat sheet. Okay, now one of the neat things in Google Docs is that it has an auto replace, and that's where you can add these custom messages that you want to give to the students frequently. So I've added a few to mine already, so I'll go to Tools and Preferences, and you can see that I've added dangling modifiers, sentence fragments, a few. Now for you to add your own, what you'll do is simply come up with the code that you want to type, in this case CS for comma splice. It needs to be something that you wouldn't normally type in a paper by itself. And then over here I might just come in and type comma splices, and you could type whatever you want. And then I could do learn more at, and then in this window I've pulled up the University of Wisconsin handbook, and it has a section that talks about comma splices, so I can just copy that and add it onto my little description here, and I'll just paste that in. Okay, so now on a student's paper, if I type CS, it's automatically going to pop comma splices in along with that link where students could learn more. And I can continue to do that on others too. So apostrophe errors. So here again I could add AE and go ahead and either copy and paste or type in apostrophe errors, and then I can grab this address and paste that in. So the initial setting up of this will take a little bit of time. You could have a student aide or a volunteer do this for you if you wanted to. But once you have these in, whenever you get ready to grade a student's paper, that will pop in automatically. So it's going to really streamline your grading. Okay, now I want to show you how you could print a copy of your cheat sheet. So if I come back here to Tools and I go to Preferences, if I'd like to keep a copy of this, I can go ahead and take a snippet picture using the snipping tool that comes with Microsoft, or you can get it for the Mac or Chromebook also. And then I can just take a picture of my cheat sheet, copy it with the little copy button here, and then on my cheat sheet page I can just paste that in. Now if I wanted to, I could go ahead and hit print and print a hard copy of this. At some point you may end up with so many that you would have to take 2 screenshots to capture them all, and that's okay. And then you would just print a hard copy. Again, you would just use the snipping tool to take that picture and print it. Then you can have that next to you as you grade students' papers so that you remember what code you need to type in. And in most cases it would just simply be the first and last letter of the phrase, so that after some time you probably just memorize those. Alright, so let me show you how this would actually work in practice after you've got your preferences set up. Okay, so in practice, again, I want to make this efficient. If you're going to use this technique, you really want to set up a Google Classroom. It just expedites that whole grading process. This combined with that tool will really help you out. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead as a teacher and just go to classroom.google.com. If you've not used it before, you'll just have to click on I'm a teacher. It'll take you to this page, and you'll simply go plus, create a class, and you'll just simply call it whatever the class name is, followed by the period, and then you'll just hit create. So it's going to take you 30 seconds to make your Google class. Now, in order for your students to begin using it, they're going to go to classroom.google.com and you're going to give them this code, and they're going to type that code in to join your class. And as soon as your students have joined, you'll see them come in on this page, and then you can begin assigning assignments. So for instance, I want to have my students write an essay or a research paper or even just complete a worksheet. So I would just then come here to my assignment, just call it AP essay. Maybe this is the second one. I could give it a description. I can give it a due date if I'd like, although that's not required. Students can turn things in after the due date. They're just marked late. Now here's the mistake that teachers have made in the past. They would just attach a Word doc. Well, that's useless. That's going to slow this whole process down. Instead, what you're going to want to do is simply attach a Google Doc that you've made. And in this case, I just made basically a blank assignment, and I just named it AP Essay. Okay, so this is just basically a blank Google Doc that I created. And what I'm going to do is make a copy for each student. So each student is going to get a copy of this AP essay. And I could attach a rubric, I could attach a YouTube video that I want them to reflect on, I could attach a link to maybe a writing website. So you can attach whatever you want to this assignment, and then you're just going to simply assign that. Then all of the kids that are in your Google Classroom will automatically get a copy of that. So it's really efficient. I've seen teachers try to do this through email before. Terrible, slow process. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. I've seen teachers try to do it through an LMS before. Again, generally a tedious process. The Google Classroom just really streamlines that whole process. Okay, so what do you do after your students have turned it in? How can you use the techniques that I just showed you? So I'll go ahead, and I've made a class here called let's see, I've made a class here called Just for Fun. Sorry about that. And in this class I have a student who's turned in that AP essay, and I'll just click on this Done. And I'll see a list of all my students here. And then to open their paper, I just simply click on that, and that's going to open their paper. Okay, so now I'm ready to grade this. In the old days I would have pulled out a pen and marked it up with ink, but I can actually do it more efficiently now. So the very first thing I'm going to recommend is that you turn this from editing into suggesting. That's Google Docs track changes. Okay, now if you wanted to strike through something like you would have done in the past, you would just highlight it and press delete, and that's just going to put a strike through, and that will show the student what you've done here. So very fast. If there was a problem, say with a comma, again, I can just go ahead and type in my code, and I think it was CS. I just look at my little cheat sheet here, and I just type in CS, and you can see then it puts that comma splice, and it tells them to learn more there. Okay, if I've got a dangling modifier, say here, I can just come in and type the DM, and that's going to put my dangling modifier in along with the link that the students can use to learn about that particular error. If I wanted to just make a general comment, I can make those here as well. So the two keys are turn on suggesting, and then also remember to use those codes that you set up here in the preferences, and that's just going to streamline the whole grading process. So if I've got a sprawling sentence, just type that in. The students know it's a sprawling sentence. They've got a link where they can go learn about sprawling sentences. Now, even though I've done this example for language arts teachers, this works the same way for any subject area. Okay. All right, so after I'm done grading, I can come back here in the Google Classroom, assign the student an 80. I could give them some comments, so really isn't necessary, and then I can post that grade. Okay, and then I would just continue on to my next student. So real fast way to grade papers electronically. I would argue that it's just as fast as doing it with a old-fashioned pen, and I'd say students are going to be able to actually read your handwriting, which is a nice benefit. Plus, it kind of brings students into the 21st century. I think that as students begin writing in their future careers, they'll probably adopt a system much like what we've seen here. Thanks for watching this week's High Tech Friday.